This is First Timothy chapter 3 and verse 4. One that ruleth well his house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High? I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, who rule well and teach well four corners of the earth in the same Spirit and in sound doctrine. Shalom to the Akwat Yom, believers of his faith and his truth. Lord willing that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. Continue to endure and be sincere in the same faith. And Lord willing, the Most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. The title of this, Rule Your House, Ak. Rule your house, brethren. This is 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High? Doing, another part of my reading throughout the day, coming in this truth is very important for us men to rule our household, right? Because if you can't rule your household, how do you think you're going to be fit to take care of the church of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? This is pointed to me. This is pointed to any other brother that's in this thing. And even for you sisters that could be listening or will be listening, right? You have to know the man is the authority, the first and last say so, especially on the direction you're going, right? The belief, right? The order, right? The wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Better yet, a man of understanding is going to know you or know your role in this thing better than you're going to know yourself, because the Lord gave us the understanding of women and men in the scriptures, and it's very key that you men rule your house. Now that this precept came back to mind, I want to go to Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, the 27th chapter, in verse 3. It says, unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, his house shall soon be overthrown. So if a man is not daily holding his daily in the fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Lord is going to overthrow his house, just the same as congregations. But those that are diligent, guess what? They were faithful in the womb. That's why it says fear the Lord. So I want to get this. A precept that came to mind is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 in verse 14. It says, to fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb, right? And really, it's really Yahweh that knows who's going to be faithful, man. A lesson I just did in Sirach 42, the Lord knows all thoughts. Better yet, let me just get it. Yahweh Shema Shai is amazing and all that he does, man. This is Sirach chapter 42 and verse 20. It says, no thought escapeth him, neither any word is hidden from him. Right? You can't hide your thought, your motive, your mission, right? In your heart, in your mind, anywhere. In anything that you already have done. Let's actually go up a verse 19. It says, he declareth the things that are past and for to come, and he revealeth the steps of hidden things in the scriptures and things of yourself, man. Our life is in the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So a man of the faith is going to order his household, let alone himself. Now, I got to get this before I go get the other precepts that I really want for this lesson. I believe it's 1 Peter chapter 4, and I'm going to start at verse 12. It says, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers. And us men have to be examples for the believers, those of your household, right? Those of the faith, which is this household. It says, in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Till I come, give attendance to reading. We have to be the example of reading. If your wife and your children not taking heed, guess what? That's because they might not be watching. Because whatever you do, it would be an imitation. Like Paul say, imitate me like I do Yahweh Shai. Now, this ministry about the men, but who's to say a woman or a child of faith is not going to read or want to know the history or the things that did pass, things that are going to pass, what the kingdom is going to be like, right? So give attendance to reading, to exhortation, which is encouragement, to doctrine. Neglect not the gift that is in you, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. Meditate upon these things. So meditate on reading, exhortation, and doctrine, and your gift. It says, give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. Take heed unto thyself, unto doctrine, continue in them. So take heed to doctrine and continue in them. In doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. Now, in order for me to order my house, I have to order myself. Order myself. Because if I'm not building myself up in discipline, how is my household going to be in discipline? How are they going to be in order? Right? First, you men, you must take heed to this thing. Right? Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter. This Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, and I'm going to just get to the point, verse 17. Is for every true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the love of discipline is love, right? So we have to desire discipline. And where do we get that? We get that in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, understand us even more. So let's get into these scriptures of ruling your house, right? Regardless of what woman or what any child says, right? A man of the Lord, which is say, give your daughter of understanding, right? And a wife is going to always, be examining her husband in a way not to study his wrong, but to study what he likes and what he don't like, so that she can be a piece unto him. Let alone how you move is going to benefit for the daughters. Even the daughters should be learning from their father, right? The best relationship is really the children with their father. Because say if you go in the spirit world, you leave, your children get to take up after you. If it's a daughter, she's going to take up in the mannerism of you, let alone that daughter is going to look at her father and be like, okay, what he likes, what he don't like. And she's going to try to perfect herself, so she is a good reflection to her husband, if she has one, when that time comes. And even the son, where he could be able to lead his household, right? If the children is only looking at their father or their parents for fun, through the spirit, just being honest, they're not really learning. They're not really learning, man. Because we should be learning from the mannerism, or how a father or how a woman move in this thing, right? So that our daughters and our sons can actually be a reflection of us if we got to give up the ghost, right? This is Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it, right? Let me get this word for train in the Hebrew. So Proverbs 22:6. In the NLT, it says, direct your children unto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. So let's look it up in interlinear, the concordance of train up. H2596, Hanak, train, dedicate, and inaugurate, train up, dedicate. In the Strong's definition, it says to narrow, figuratively, or discipline, right? So the train is to discipline, to narrow. Wait, hold on. What path are we walking? We're walking the narrow path. So you're disciplining your children on this path, which is this ministry that Yahweh Shem Yahushai put us in. Right? Let's get Joshua. Let's go into the history. Let's get Joshua 24, verse 15. This is what it reads. It says, you know what? Let me actually read 14. It says, now therefore fear Yahweh and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye Yahweh. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. Right? And I'm speaking on behalf of my household. We're going to serve Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. But still, I know, Lord willing, you know that our children, our women, they're in the flesh just like you. But are they moving in the flesh? You know, Lord willing, the Lord keeps them in this path. But if they're not serious about this faith, they can drift away from this walk. They can drift away from this truth. The Lord did it multiple, many times. Right? So it's very important for us to build discipline in our daughters and our sons. Right? When we look at Deuteronomy 6, let me actually get that. Deuteronomy 1 all the way to 6, but we just gonna read the point. Deuteronomy 6, verse 6. It says, no, Deuteronomy 6 and 7. It says, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, when thou risest up. Right? We got a job to do, especially as men. You know, I even have to do better. Right? Yes, I'm all stern in my house, but it's all love when I tell my children, hey, ask a question, read. Because even if I'm teaching them, kids can be watching movies and don't know what it's going into. Right? Or kids breaking stuff, kids doing a whole lot, but I'm always thinking outside the box. My kids go to school, some of them homeschool, and they're all learning what the teacher taught them or was in a textbook. But not one time, now that they're in this truth, our kids is not asking about this truth. They're not participating in this thing. Just like when they in school, our children are participating in class or projects. Right? This thing is about the men. But for us to order your house, every man order their house different. For me personally, everybody has to be proactive. Right? You should be active in this thing. Right? We should be asking more questions of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai than things of this world. We should be entertaining, right, the thought or wisdom of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Right? Because things is about to get worse. Things is about to get worse. You know, you want your mind abiding in Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Now, that's the one thing that hit us even from our fall, that even our children fell away from the faith of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Right? But let's actually get a point on that. We can go into the point of Eli. This is 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 13, and it reads, it says, for I have told, let me start at 12. It says, in that day I will perform against Eli all the things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I began, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves veil, and he restrained them not. Right? He didn't discipline them. Right? But hold on. Let's get a quick history point on that. When we go to the chapter before, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 12, it says, now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. They knew not Yahweh. How do Eli know Yahweh, but the sons don't? Verse 17, it says, wherefore the sin of the young men were very great before Yahweh, for men abhorred the offering of Yahweh. Now dropping down to verse 22, reading to 25, it says, Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the woman that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. He said unto them, Why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear ye make Yahweh's people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against Yahweh, who shall entreat him? Who shall entreat for him? Withstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because Yahweh would slay them. Right? And guess what? If they don't hearken, now I'm not seeing that he gave them the rod. Right? You should be popping your child. Right? Because these sons, we got points in Proverbs, but I'm gonna nip it right in the butt and go to the same point at once, which is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, I believe the 30th chapter. Starting at verse 1, it says, He that loveth his sons causeth him ought to feel the rod. If Eli loved his sons, he should have gave him the rod. Right? Failure to rule the house righteously brings judgment. Right? That's why later on, Eli was in the spirit world, man. Right? It says, He that loveth his son causeth him often to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. Right? Chastise where you giving him the rod. Right? Yes, because of little mistakes, the smaller mistakes, the great mistakes. Right? Because you want to instill in him to have order, to have discipline. Right? Again, Sirach 42. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is watching. What is your mind like? Our sons should be a reflection of their father. Let's see. Verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice. But I want to grieve the enemy. I'll do that spiritually by teaching, by getting on my kids, by telling them, hey, do you got a question to ask? Oh no, they don't even know what I'm talking about. Hey, you're not even thinking about a question of the Lord. And this is not only me, all you brothers, if you're dealing with problems with your children, with your wife, hey, if you chose the wrong woman, right, you still have to put order in the house. But if it's that friction, guess what? She might not be a woman of this faith. If it's a woman of this faith, which, some of us do have, you want to put order. You want to always continue to maintain your house. Like you maintain your bills, maintain your house. Yes, your women have moments where her emotions and feelings have to be touched or be dealt with. But at the end of the day, this woman of faith has to know that you are a man of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is not our time to have our riches, our kingdom, our relaxation. Yes, in your house where you kicking up, where you worked all day, right? Where maybe the sun going down, maybe it's hot as heck. Yes, of course you got to do your motherly and wifely duties. You got to cook food. You want to make sure the house clean. Guess what? That's a daily thing, having children. That don't never stop. Let alone having multiple children that's growing. You have to build your daughters. Clean up. Watch your sisters. It doesn't matter if they got a cell phone, if they got a tablet, if they got their own TV in their room or in the living room. That daughter better make sure the bathroom was clean. She better make sure her room was clean. She better make sure her sisters eat. If you busy, she should be hopping on to it. Guess what? Another reason why is because the household needs to know that the father is watching. I have a job too. I have to observe what everybody's doing, if everybody's in order, right? So again, when the father is teaching the son, he grieveth the enemy. Better yet, he grieving the enemy when his daughter is in order. She's not going to be one of these hoochie mamas twerking and bouncing around like a damn rabbit, right? Verse 4, it says, though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he have left one behind him that is like himself. My mission is, if I did go in the spirit world, that my sons, Akai and TJ, is going to still walk in my shoes. It's not walking in disobedience. They're going to still speak. What if I was in the spirit world? Do I have faith? I believe my son is going to still believe in the Lord. But without me, is he going to still be on fire? Is he going to read more? Is he going to take it? Guess what? Sometimes under the hand of women, kids get more disobedient. hopping around. A woman got to yell at him 4 different times, but a man say it 1 time, say it twice, and the kid listen. Who's to say that child is going to be strong without the man in the household? But say if we're constantly training our child, when you do go in the spirit world, if your child do have faith in the Lord dealing with him, he's going to stay in that lot, right? Just like Samuel's mother prayed, if she give him, a son, that she'll offer him to him. I'll give him to you. And guess what? Samuel raised up, dedicated to the Lord. She dedicated her firstborn son to Yahweh Shem Shai. We see in the law that the firstborn sons is dedicated to Yahweh Shem Shai, and the first beast, the first lamb, belongs to Yahweh Shem Shai. Verse 5, it says, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bid up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. It says, a horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. Right? Now, let me get that in the GNT real quick, and then we'll close. Right? This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 30, in verse 8 in the GNT. And it reads, it says, an untamed horse is going to be stubborn, and a undisciplined son is no different. Right? So if our sons can't handle when they playing the game or jumping around, where they yelling, or when somebody sleep, or when somebody got a headache and they over exaggerating things, being loud, bumping and running around the house, or just letting somebody come in the house without asking, going somewhere without asking. And it's the same with the daughters, because we can't let our daughters go gad abroad, right? Our daughters can't have liberty to do what they want. They can't have freedom to do what they want. You got to be on your kids to build them with discipline. Like when you teaching your children through the spirit, you're getting them ready for them to be adults. You're getting them ready for what if you were in the spirit world. If we're not teaching our child and we go in the spirit world, they're going to be like a lot of our parents, figuring it out on their own, So brothers, rule your household. Sisters, you're in order, let alone you're ruling under your husband. What your husband say goes. How he order his house, when he's gone or there, you should be doing it. You giving out slack. It was no slack in the ancient world. Just because Joseph was Jacob's favorite, he still put order in his house. But the order is, hey, you a dreamer, you stay here, while his brothers was working. His brothers was workers. It was still order. So even if the father is not there, you should still be putting order. If you got favoritism, that favoritism should be a minimum, because you have to know that you have to build the house. I have to build the house. Work on everybody's weakness to build them up to be stronger. Children, take heed to what is being taught to you. This is not no game. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahushai. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Shalom to the Akwatiyam, believers of His faith and His truth. Lord willing that y'all all continue to move in sound doctrine and in the same Spirit. Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. With that, shalom, shalom, abal, abal.